anything, the atmosphere has changed, an empty, eerie Ibrox once again, but the challenge remains the same. St Johnstone have taken points off Rangers in each of the 4 seasons since the return to the top flight. 11 points lost to St Johnstone in those 4 seasons. Rangers want and need a maximum return to maintain the early season momentum tonight. Kamara, who is being linked in the gossip columns with 1 or 2 English clubs. Get used to it, everybody. These are good players, and this is a long window. Take it as a compliment. Hadji. Here is Kamara looking to feed Morelos. Keeps his place in the starting 11. Why wouldn't he, after making 1 and scoring 2 at the weekend? But Cedric Itten has been joined by Kamaru on the bench this evening. There's David Wotherspoon. Golson quickly to him. Man in charge is Ewan Anderson, who got an earful from Steven Gerrard last time he took charge of a Rangers game, and Rangers won that game. It was against Livingston here last February. I had a brief chat with the Rangers manager today. He's got his game face on.
I think he's got that on all the time, Clive.
Don't tell too many jokes on a match day, I tell you. He was a little bit narky, and I said, I like that. I like to see that as kick-off approaches.
He's the ultimate competitor, isn't he? He's just, I think he wants to win whenever he's on the training pitch, whenever he's playing heady tennis with the lads, whenever he's, I think whatever he does, I don't think you can become the sportsman that he become without having that competitive edge in abundance.
Jack. Aribo. Tavernier. Morelos. He did just catch David Wotherspoon there. There's no great intent.
Callum will be happy with that, Clive. The wee free kicks, the slowness, the when they do get up the pitch, St Johnstone, and they can take the time to take throw-ins. You can see already that it does become a back 5 out of possession in the 4 in midfield. I've got no doubt in my mind that St Johnstone are going to try and stop Ryan Kent and Yanis Hadji finding these spaces, and then all of a sudden the 5 at the back can then cope with Barisic and Tavernier, who we all know play like wingers almost in this Rangers team. So it's going to be an interesting challenge for Rangers to break this rear guard down.
Well won by Balogun. Looks as if Rangers have set up 4-2-3-1, but with Aribo in the number 10 position, Hadji from the right, Kent from the left, certainly initially, although there's a good fluidity about Rangers coming forward, something that Shelley pointed out before game, interchanging of positions. Free kick to defend first. Craig Conway, who came on for the last 20 minutes of the opening match, getting his chance because of O'Halloran's suspension this evening. It's quite a big St Johnstone team. Flag is up on the near side. Back 3 are all 6 foot plus. Kerr on the right, McCart on the left, Gordon in the middle. A slightly sloppy start. We saw this at the start of the second half of the weekend. Crossed in again by Conway, but that's easy enough for McLaughlin.
Yeah, a sloppy one for Liam Balogun there, Clive. It's not what we'd expect, but you certainly don't want to give this St Johnstone team any wee sniffs to get further up the pitch through not their good play and poor decisions for the Rangers players.
Just run away from McCann. It's Morelos. Hadji had to check and then stretch and couldn't reel it in. Wotherspoon. Here's Callum Hendry. And he's got away from Balogun and forced a good save out of McLaughlin. And Callum Hendry just reminding Rangers what he can do. He volleyed St Johnstone in front when the two met in Perth in February.
Yeah,
It's a terrific save for John McLaughlin, it really is, and that's just the wake-up call that I think this Rangers back four needs. You know, sloppy play, and then all of a sudden David Witherspoon picks up the ball, and a real good ball to Callum Henry, and he's unlucky to not put it in the back of the net. Good save for John McLaughlin.
He did well to turn Balogun and create the shooting chance for himself. It's loose from Golson this time.
This is where you need leaders, Clive. You know, when you start sloppy and you make a couple of poor mistakes, you just need somebody to grab the game with the scruff of the neck, settle people down, take a touch. You don't need to score in the first minute, the first 5 minutes. It's great to get off to a good start, but you need to be patient. Patient don't mean to move the ball slow. Just patience in your play, don't get sloppy.
Booth trying to get forward. Just couldn't link with Witherspoon.
Witherspoon and Conroy, they tuck in quite narrow as well, Clive. The way I'd imagine they'll be the two that Callum Davison would expect to try and get St Johnstone up the pitch.
Barisic. Jack. Haji. Aribo just couldn't quite quicken. I think he anticipated exactly where the pass was going. Hendry looking very game, very willing, and not without talent in the opening stages. He won't like everything he's seen so far.
Yeah, I think he's getting a wee bit agitated on the sideline. Callum Davison will be really happy. There's no doubt you expect the St Johnstone team to come here and work really hard and be really well organised. Exactly the same as Tommy Wright. Callum Davison was obviously his assistant for a wee while, so he'll be ingrained in the habits that have made that St Johnstone team really successful. So we wouldn't expect them to change too much.
Rebo moving a little gingerly. He did just try to stretch his legs and chase that pass a moment ago. And you just wonder whether he's tweaked a muscle.
That'll be a real concern for the manager. He's been the go-to man through pre-season. Clive, I've watched him at close quarters in training. I genuinely feel he's the one that could be the difference this year. He has all the tools. He just has to back it up on the pitch. But in training, for what I've seen pre-season, some of the goals he's scored have been terrific.
He was on the fringes of the game at the weekend, but he played a little wider than he is doing tonight. He's been given the license to get a bit closer to Morelos, more central position for Joe Aribo. Haji felt that clash of heads. Free kick's actually been given in Rangers' favour by Ewan Anderson. Kent. Kamara. Aribo coming, looking for the ball, moving better now. Barisic. Dispossessed though by Ali McCann.
Yeah, it's just a wee bit pedestrian at times, Clive. To be honest, it's, you know, Yanis Hadji, it was a half-hearted run to try and break the St Johnstone rear guard there. I think, you know, you need to run without the ball to try and disrupt the back four, well, back five when we're out of possession.
A bit more zest and purpose about the way Rangers started against St Mirren on Sunday. Jason Kerr's throw, picked off by Jack. Gordon taking no chances. Sounds like there's about 15,000 people inside Ibrox tonight. We've got a particularly noisy coaching staff. There's a couple of former Rangers men on Callum Davison's staff. Hope they mind their language.
thought you were going to give Jimmy Bell a mention there, Clive. He was making sure that the balls. I've seen Jimmy today at the training centre as happy as he always is with me. He's a character. He's the real top man in the building.
Rebo won the ball. It has actually gone out for a Rangers throw. Callum Davis has got Stephen McLean on the staff and Alex Cleland, both ones of this parish. Stephen began at Rangers, was scoring goals down south. Played alongside Stevie May in the famous Cup final win and scored the second goal. And Alex Cleland was here in the mid-90s before following Walter Smith down to Everton. Very good right back.
Was brought up in the same Borders town as Stevie McLean, Clive, down in Peebles.
Kamara. Kent was just caught there by Conway, who emerges cleanly with the ball. Made some good ground too. I think Jack's been penalised.
Yeah, I think it's just a throw-in, Clive. And that's what Rangers don't want. They don't want teams breaking on them. They want to keep them trapped in. They want to keep waves of attack going. And at the moment, David Witherspoon, Conroy, just getting the team up the pitch too easily. Too easily. Ryan Jack, Glenn Kamara, they need to back up play a wee bit better for this Rangers team at the moment, just so they can keep the pressure on, and it allows your Hadjis, Aribos opportunities to go and try and make it happen in the final third.
Injury causing some issues again. It's a great chase from lost causes. Rangers just haven't set up base camp in this match as yet. Better ball from Jack, Kamara, Morelos, Barisic. With a very hungry start by St Johnstone, pressing the ball quickly, making it difficult for the man in possession.
Yeah, they're very rigid, lots of yellow jerseys and around the blue shirts, but it comes down to just not moving the ball fast enough, Clive. They need to move it quicker across the back. People need to run without the ball. Too many of them are standing in a straight line. So easy for St Johnstone players to pick them up.
Morelos though to Kent. Well, he's capable. He's ambitious. Nothing wrong with a little bit of ambition.
Yeah, and quite direct up to Alfredo Morelos, and Ryan Kent certainly got that in his locker. I don't mind that though. You need to mix it up against teams. You can't be one-trick pony. You can't poke and prod and poke to flick it down people's throats. And Alfredo Morelos is as good as anyone at getting hold of the ball. And you see something so simple, ball up to him, down his throat, bounces off his chest, and all of a sudden Ryan Kent's getting a shot at goal.
McCart. There was a bit of a cart forward. Kamara. Kent. No real fluency about Rangers as yet.
Yeah, they're very well tuned. You can see out of possession how well tuned St Johnstone are and how narrow they are in midfield. It's actually funny because Rangers like to show you down the side, and St Johnstone look quite happy to show you down the side as well, because with the back five in place, they've got the two to cope with the two full-backs, and they're trying to congest the middle of the pitch, so fair play to Callum Davison.
Barisic heels on the touchline, trying to introduce that width, which is going to be really important for Rangers tonight.
I actually think it's better to keep it in the middle of the pitch, to be honest, Clive. boys like Yanis Hadji, Ryan Kent, or Rebos, they can play in tight areas, so go and play in the middle of the pitch in tight areas. I think when you go wide and they've got numbers there to cover that wide one that normally is the extra man in defence, just nullify that one.
Jack. Rebo. Kent to Jack. Morelos, Kent. A bit more penetration about this attack. Barisic to Kent once more. The decision's gone St Johnstone's way. Seen much of Tavernier getting forward as yet. Hadji's first touch not good enough. Craig was fouled. The referee trying to play an advantage.
Yeah, you can just see he just clips his heels there. And that's what Liam Craig wants. I played with him at Hibs, Clive, and he's in there with plenty of experience. You know, a real good lad. He'll slow the game down. He'll use his voice. People that can run a wee bit further than him, at the age that he's at, he'll march them on and make sure they do a good job for the team. Plenty of experience, Liam Craig.
33 now, and his 400th appearance for St Johnstone this evening. Just 39 short of Stephen Anderson's club appearance record. I say just 39, 33 years of age. Well, it'll be touch and go whether he gets there, I think.
Yeah, he's a good professional. He looks after himself, Liam, so pretty sure if he can stay injury-free and part of Callum Davidson's plans, if they're successful as a team, then he'll be there or thereabouts.
Booth's cross. Dealt with by Balogun. Morelos, now Kent. First opportunity Rangers have really had to counter-attack. The first time St Johnstone have committed a number of men forward.
Just teams, this is what teams do, Clive. They grow in confidence, they get a touch of the ball, they get wee free kicks, they get up the pitch, they get a set piece. And this is a challenge that any Rangers player has, to try and break down these teams that come well organised. Listen, every person comes to Rangers and wants to beat you. That's just the way it is. You need to find a way.
Can't usually hear the seagulls during Rangers home games. It's a little weird. Bit Marie Celeste. Tavernier under pressure from Wotherspoon did well, actually. Here's Jack. Hadji was caught by Ali McCann. I think it's going to be a final warning, but that is the kind of challenge which breaks up momentum.
Yeah, and that's the pass that we want to be seeing happening a wee bit further forward the pitch. You know, Ryan Jack, Glenn Kamara, Yanis Hadji and Ryan Kent are in the team to go and create things. They need the ball. They want the ball as quick as possible. So it's up to Ryan Jack and Glenn Kamara to feed them. That's what you're a server. You protect what's behind you, you feed what's in front of you. And at the moment, the ball's just coming forward too slow, which suits St Johnstone.
Hadji, Morelos, Tavernier to Jack. Kamara, Morelos, Balogun has played with some pace and well controlled by Kent. Jack, Morelos just took that on the half turn and tempted David Wotherspoon into a challenge, and as a result Rangers have a promising position here just outside the penalty area.
Yeah, and all of a sudden the ball started moving a wee bit quicker there, a wee bit more like how it should be moving. It's a foul for David Wotherspoon. we spoke about Yanis Hadji, Bona Barisic, who would fight, who would get the lion's share of the free kicks, Clive, on Sunday, didn't we? I think this one's set up for Bona Barisic. I don't know if he'll be getting shoved out the road this time.
It is just right of centre, which suits the left footer. Since placing the ball, he hasn't engaged in any eye contact with any of his teammates, which tends to suggest that even if they think they've got a chance of this free kick, he doesn't. His eyes are fixed on one piece of netting behind Elliot Barisic.
Beautiful.
It's that one.
Beautiful.
That's the piece of netting he was aiming at. Floated over the wall. Breakthrough for Rangers, and it's come with a beautiful free kick from a familiar source, Bona Barisic.
Beautiful. Absolutely out the top draw, Clive. That is what you call a wand of a left peg. We speak about it when he crosses the ball into the box. I always feel with Bona Barisic, when he's in wider areas, he puts the ball in the box to pick people out. I think James Tavernier puts percentage balls in. I think Bona Barisic actually picks people out, and that is right out the top draw. Terrific free kick for Bona Barisic.
He was focused throughout the whole process there. From the moment the free kick was taken, was awarded, he went into a zone.
I don't think Yanis Hadji will be getting another one now, Clive. That's for sure. I think there's going to be one winner from now on.
But he was a model of concentration, focus there. Maybe the elements that have been missing from Rangers' play in the first 20 minutes or so, but there you go, Morelos with a little half turn, just tempting a challenge, setting up a situation. And Rangers have players of talent who are capable of capitalising on such. Bona Barisic, his first of the season, his first since October of last year, actually.
I don't think there's a type, Clive, that will score ordinary goals with being a left back. I think when he does get them, they're always out the top drawer, and that is absolutely terrific for Bona Barisic.
He's another one who's been attracting one or two rumours. Leeds United's name has been linked with him several times in the last week or so. Stephen Gerrard answered the inquiries yesterday by saying Bona has a long contract here at Ibrox. End of.
I think that's one thing our fans can be sure of, Clive, that Stephen Gerrard will get pushed about by nobody. No media, no other teams. Every player's got a price, but it's one thing I know about the manager. He won't back down for anyone.
It does look as if Lille's interest in Morelos is cooling. They're about to spend an awful lot of money on a Canadian forward, Jonathan David from Ghent. Which might be the end of that saga too.
I certainly don't think that's a bad thing.
Barisic, why not? He thought about it, didn't he? Here's Kent. Oh, he almost managed to clear Elliot Parish, who just helped it on its way. Morelos slipped. Watherspoon clears. It will come towards Hendry. Balogun's had a good look at Callum Hendry now, and managed to get in a challenge that time. Good cross this.
Yeah, beautiful cross for Ryan Kent, just stuck up at the back post and just desperate for somebody to go and attack it. And Paris didn't do particularly well, but they managed to get it to safety in the end.
The goals just changed the whole temperature of the match.
Yeah, you relax, don't you? The pass that might look a wee bit tighter when the game's 0-0 and the game's on an edge, all of a sudden looks that wee bit easier. The shot, all of a sudden you got a wee bit more confidence at defending. You're all of a sudden on your front foot. So, look, goals change games.
Here's a rebound. St Johnstone looking that little bit more anxious now. They were just starting to enjoy themselves a bit.
Yeah, and it's a sucker punch for any team that comes, especially if you defend quite well and you're quite rigid and you're quite organised, and all of a sudden a silly foul on the edge of the box for David Witherspoon, and then just an unbelievable bit of brilliance for an individual that's got a one-day left peg.
Tavernier, turned away by Gordon, tidied up by McCann. They're trying to play their way out of trouble when they can, St Johnstone. And that process is becoming increasingly fraught, not least because they've got a game to chase now.
He's massive on that counter press. Clive, the manager, they're really, really big on it to try and keep teams penned in, so they get waves and waves of attack, so they can almost batter teams into submission. I do think that's a fitness thing, you know, pressing the ball and having high energy to try and win it back. Will come in time. The good thing about an empty stadium for me, Clive, you probably, I'm not sure if you can hear him, but Mick Beale's sitting in the stand below us, and he's a wizard of a coach. Unbelievable detail, unbelievable knowledge. I can hear all his shouts, so it's a great education for me sitting in the gantry, because normally you would hear the fans singing or shouting or happy ones, sad ones. But Mick Beale is a unbelievable, knowledgeable guy when it comes to football development, football coaching.
Well, there's plenty of those fans listening to you tonight, Kevin. Mainly happy ones at the moment, thanks to Barisic's free kick. Here's Jack to Morelos. Tavernier. Aribo. Kent did well to gather that in. Looked like a foul by Conway. Hadji it was, I should say. That's well won by Balogun. He does take chances like that. He believes he can intercept the ball. He's very alert, very quick. There's a foul on Hadji?
Yeah, it's a foul. Okay, Conway's on Yanis Hadji's back. He's just used his body, his goal side, Conway's wrong side, and it's a foul. Balogun's brilliant at that, Clive. Being on the front foot, being really aggressive. Many boys get change out of him. He's quite prepared to go really tight. Quite prepared to back his speed if it does get knocked over the top of him. You know, some centre halves like to play loose, and I played with Davy Weir, who was a terrific player, but liked to play deep, liked to play loose. Probably never backed his speed, obviously at older age, but when you've got a defender, we had one called Carlos Cuellar that played here who was exceptional at that. It really gives the team a platform to go and play if you've got a really aggressive centre back.
Well, FIFA do change the laws quite regularly, but I'm not aware that the piggyback has been legalised. I haven't read anything about it.
It's almost round his neck.
Tavernier. Golson. Aribo. Seen more of the ball that he saw on Sunday in that position, Aribo.
Yeah. I just think it suits him. He needs the ball. The front three do. Morelos can get starved of it at times, and he can come alive. But I think Yanis Hadji, Ryan Kent, Joe Aribo, and that's what I speak about Ryan Jack and Glenn Kamara. They're there to serve the boys that are in front of them, give them opportunities to go and break teams down.
Here's Aribo. Somehow improvised a pass for Barisic. It's got a little isolated there, Borna. Kamara. Rangers have kept the ball well, kept it in a good area. Kamara. Aribo. Tavernier. Morelos, lovely turn. Well, they couldn't quite finish it off, but great movement there.
Yeah, almost a Michael Moles one again. You know, that wee drop of the shoulder, shifting your weight onto your left foot to then swivel. Terrific ball in for James Tavernier, a wee bit of purpose on it. You know, gave Alfredo right down his throat, and he likes that. He likes that contact. He likes to use his bum. And unfortunately, never hit the target this time, but he's certainly getting fitter. He's looking sharper, Alfredo. The fans love him, Clive. They adore him here. I don't think there'll be many disappointed fans if we get to the end of October when the transfer window shuts and Alfredo Morelos is still a Rangers player.
Nearly half an hour played. Rangers ahead thanks to Borna Barisic's 21st minute free kick, but with an injury headache. Liam Balogun with an awkward landing. He did have one casual moment against St Mirren, but Stephen Gerrard's talked a lot about the value of his pace in particular. It enables Rangers to defend high, defend the halfway line, as the manager says, and it also gives Balogun the capacity to bring the ball forward into midfield, move Rangers up the field that way.
Yeah, I think he's a wee bit different for the other ones, which I think is important as well. I think if you get the same centre-back in all 4 or 5 that the manager will rely on through the course of the season, I think it can sometimes bring you problems, but I think they all bring their own qualities, and Balogun's certainly one that's really aggressive, happy to give loads of space in behind. He backs his pace and his athleticism.
Hadji, Morelos. Target man play has been excellent tonight. It's a good ball from Jack to Barisic, and now Kent. He's found a good left-footed cross, and Hadji just couldn't quite connect with it. Tavernier. And McNamara does the same thing. Is he right-footed or left-footed? They never quite work out, Ryan Kent.
He's just got that such blistering change of speed, and you know the latest one that Paris had to scramble to deal with was floated in, and the different variation within his crosses. That time he just drills it across the 6-yard box, and Alfredo will be disappointed, because when it did go through, if he had gambled, he might have just nicked himself a tap-in.
Barisic with the corner. Golson beyond the far post. It's come though for Tavernier. Needed to tee that one up, James. That's what you do. You just tee it up and then you cut across it. That fabulous volley he hit against St Mirren at the weekend.
Yeah, he just leaning back a bit, Tav, just getting underneath it, and he'll be disappointed because he's certainly got the quality to test the goalkeeper for that distance, but
Danny McNamara. Header on by Hendry. Golson in charge. Kent made the peeling run in behind the St Johnstone ranks, and Golson not frightened to go long, try and pick him up.
Yeah, never quite worked out that time for Connor Golson, but it certainly mixes it up a wee bit. You know, I always think that when Ryan Kent and Joe Aribo, Yanis Hadji, when they do gamble past Alfredo Morelos, it just gives teams different things to think about. I think when you always play in front of teams and they want to be rigid and well organised, it almost plays into their hands, whereas every now and again you go and bang one over the top of them and stretch them a wee bit, or try and soak them up the pitch to then leave a wee bit of space in behind. It's amazing how much joy you can get off the back of that. Yeah,
we talked about the Liverpool comparison on Sunday, and I don't want to overplay that. Rangers are Rangers, not Liverpool, but Liverpool are not frightened to go long.
No. Wee bit tunes. No, and I think that's the thing, Clive. I think when you become a one-trick pony, teams are easy to work you out. You know, people can watch. There's so much access to analysis nowadays that people can almost know to the letter of the T how you play. So I think if you can mix it up at times, it certainly brings a different dimension to your attack for sure.
Rangers forced into going long that time, couldn't quite play through the St Johnstone press, but they didn't lose the ball. Aribo, Kamara, now Hadji. He's got options here. Tavernier, Jack, Barisic with space and time to pick across, turned on by Aribo. Hadji. Oh, it almost came for Aribo. It was a great idea.
He actually stopped Joe Aribo. Lovely vision for Yanis Hadji. He's got that in his locker, especially the fact that he can go both ways. Just a wee skiff just takes it away for Joe Aribo, but I actually thought he checked his run a wee bit. I think if he'd kept on going full throttle, he might have just nicked in there, Joe Aribo.
Jason Kerr did just about enough.
I don't know who picked that music that come on there, Clive, but I think it's some parties in my time, and I think the DJ needs to get sacked.
Borna Barisic's goal after 21st minute, directly from a free kick, is the difference. It's been a stop-start introduction to management for Callum Davison. First game in charge on the 1st of the month. Must have been wondering for a while yesterday when the second match was going to be, having already lost the Aberdeen fixture last Saturday. It's well worked between Jack and Kamara, sticking to the plan, keeping the ball. Morelos losing it, but refining it. A bit more freedom about Rangers now.
Yeah, they're in total control, Clive. I just think people get anxious when you don't get that goal, and there's a nervousness, and it's something that any Rangers team needs to overcome, because that's what it's like to play for a club like this. You'll endure that every week. 3-1-2 off the referee.
Ball hits the referee. It has to restart with a bounce ball now. Caught by the sliding challenge of Jamie McCart. The yellow card has been shown. He's surprised. He lost control of it, and to the point where he felt as if he could slide it in and get it. I don't think his foot was high, but it was a pretty forceful challenge.
Yeah, he does get plenty of the ball, to be fair to him, Clive, but look, I wouldn't survive in this day and age with going to ground, and I don't know how you can slide tackle without going in with force. Just overrun it, I suppose, and when you do overrun it and you do run into a tackle, you leave the referee with a decision. So another good area for either Borna Barisic or James Tavernier to put more pressure on this St Johnstone backline.
Balogun and Golson are both forward. Delivered by Tavernier. Kent. Conway. Turned into trouble. Barisic has dispossessed him. Morelos. Jack. Actually was surrounded. To be a better first touch than that. McNamara. Hendry. A bit more determined from Barisic. It's an awkward one for Golson, but he's not under any great pressure. Each of the first two Premiership games, Rangers have taken the lead and then just had to stretch and strain to find a second goal to take it away from their opponent. They never quite managed it at Pittodrie. Took a while in coming on Sunday. That's the position they find themselves in again, in control, in the lead, but not out of sight.
Yeah, you always want that second one. It just puts everybody at ease, and that one mistake won't be as costly, obviously, but you just wonder how teams can last for so long. I certainly think the game opens up when teams do work so hard out of possession, like St Johnstone are doing, Liam Craig's, David Witherspoon's. You know, they're working tirelessly to try and stay in possession, but eventually they switch off, and that's when Rangers need to capitalise.
Yeah, it's a tiring game to play without the ball. It's a tiring game to play with it when you get to my age, but it is a particularly tiring game to play without the ball. Conway has burst forward here. He's got some support from Witherspoon. Balogun managed to deal with it with some help from Golson. I think Conway was just starting to breathe a little bit. He's 35 now, Craig Conway.
Yeah, the wee legs are tiring up there, but that's typifies making sure the back door's shut.
Flag is up. It's 9 years since Craig Conway last played at Ibrox. It's for Dundee United. Stephen Davis played that day. He did say that Alan McCoy-Storm was brought him to Ibrox. Showed an interest a few years ago, Craig Conway. And a while down south. I'm heading back down south tomorrow. There's only so many pies you can eat, you know. It's about 43 degrees apparently in London. Sure, I really want to go. Here's a Reebok. Barisic. He had the beating of McNamara. Came with a challenge.
If ever Scottish weather was summed up in a day, Clive, torrential storms last night. I thought my house was going to fall down, flooding everywhere. Fingers crossed not many people have been affected. And then blue skies today.
Seemed a clear shirt pull there by Danny McNamara, but it's gone the other way. Who's got who here?
A wee bit of both, to be honest. He's just such a difficult character to get a hold of. Joe Aribo, he's all arms and legs, he's so powerful. Real good close control. It'll be interesting to see if Callum Davison will change things after half-time. I know we always say one goal doesn't really change your plan, but I always think there has to be that wee plan B if you're an opposition manager coming to Ibrox when you do play really rigid and try and play in a counter-attack. How are you going to score a goal?
Clash of heads and Hendry is down. Callum Davison had good experience as a coach under Tommy Wright. Then with Gary Rowett at Stoke and at Millwall, but this is a different job, different responsibility now, particularly following a club legend. It's strange not to see Tommy Wright in charge of St Johnstone. 7 seasons as manager, 3 top 4 finishes, European football. Best of all, that Scottish Cup final success over Dundee United in 2014. Said he needed a break. He had a big health scare a few years back. I bet he's missing it. Big opportunity for Callum Davis.
It's a tough act to follow, to be honest, Clive. It's one of the teams that at times it can be not too pretty on the eye, but they always get the job done. They're always, really hard-working, well-organised team, and they've done well over the years to steal that wee bit of brilliance in O'Halloran, or he was terrific for them obviously before he came to Rangers. It never worked out. I think Danny Swanson going there as well. David Witherspoon was that type of player. Tommy Wright always managed to find that one that just made that wee bit of difference for them in the final third. You could argue Liam Craig was that when he obviously first went before he came to Hibs. He was quite successful.
Can't believe you didn't think that Tommy Wright was pleasing and pretty on the eye. I mean,
they're just not so much pretty on the eye, Clive. Just they were all
met him.
No, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd say that to his face. He's a big lad, Tommy. I'd give it a go, I suppose, but his teams are always well organised, and the budget that he worked under, I'm pretty sure the job that he's done is unbelievable. Cup finals, we're winning the cup, European football, top 6 finishes. It's an unbelievable job he done.
Saints have been a top flight team since 2009. Easy to forget. Last minute of a first half, which didn't start particularly promisingly for Rangers. Took 15 minutes or so to work through the gears. Borna Barisic has scored the only goal from a free kick. Had a measure of control since then, that's for sure. Barisic. It's clever from Ken. Come for Hadji, 2 added minutes here. Barisic still forward, behind you. Craig Conway tiptoed up and won the ball and then presented it back to Ryan Kent, who caught that right in the Trossachs. Kamara, Tavernier. Barisic. Kamara. I don't think the Rangers players are in for unreserved praise from their manager in the next 15 minutes, but there'll be an element of calm now that they have got a goal and got a grip of the game. Jack. Here's Barisic. And Jack! Oh, that's a really good goal. Really good goal.
Sensational. Sensational. And you couldn't have asked for a better time to score. First good ball to start with for Joe Aribo that we just actually missed into Yanis Hadji. Terrific ball, and then Borna Barisic, we say it all the time, Clive. Doesn't just put balls in an area, he picks people out. And it's a terrific finish for Ryan Kent. Couldn't have scored at a better time. The manager will be absolutely delighted with that. It actually comes for a Joe Aribo pass. Real penetrating pass into Yanis Hadji, good ball out to Borna Barisic, and a terrific ball into Ryan Kent, and then it's just down to a bit of quality. Trust your technique to hit the target, and he does that.
Well, he scored with his left foot at Aberdeen. He swept that in confidently too. If he's not smiling, I think it's something to do with the blow that he took a couple of minutes ago, which he hasn't quite shaken off.
I'm sure that goal will have made up for that.
He wouldn't know it looking at his face, but looking at the scoreline, Rangers are in a lot happier position. Marvellous individual goal from Borna Barisic. Marvellous team goal from Ryan Kent. A half that got better and better, really, from Rangers' point of view. It needed to, 15, 20 minutes in. But once they found a way to take the lead, they started to find each other with more fluency and more fluidity. They've gone on from there. And they have that second goal, which makes life so much more comfortable. At the break, it's Rangers 2, St Johnstone 0.
So what about that for our second half, first half performance by Rangers? A great way to end it there. We'll have analysis of all the big moments coming up next on Rangers TV.
Delighted to open the new Rangers store, our Rangers store, and this is only the beginning for us and our new era with Rangers in Castile. And now, if I may invite Rangers chairman Douglas Park to cut the ribbon and officially declare the new Rangers store open. Well, it's incredibly exciting, I think, to stand here today with Castor and Tom and Phil Beon and to open the Rangers store as we have today. As I said, it's a landmark moment for the club. I think it's that first representation of it being a new era and really just being the start of this incredibly new and exciting partnership. And we've already seen the level of demand around the home shirt and the away shirt before the Aberdeen game as well. So incredibly exciting to see it, and to have My Joe's members in here and getting their first hands on the product and the first taste of the store as well is just brilliant to see.
It's an absolute privilege, to be completely honest with you. Certainly a big milestone in the history of our partnership, Castor's partnership with Rangers, and I think a huge moment in the history of Rangers Football Club as well. So it's a real privilege for us to be a part of that. But equally, this is only the first step. So we do have plans already well advanced to open additional Rangers stores, not just here in Scotland, but across the UK and further afield as well. But this first opening day for the Ibrox store is special. We've done an awful lot of research across other leading European football club stores. We wanted to create a store that was very much in line with those leading stores, and we think we've achieved that. So it's fantastic to see the fans in here for the first time.
Welcome back to Rangers TV at Ibrox. It's Rangers 2, St Johnstone 0 at half-time. I'm joined here pitch side by Shelley Kerr, the Scotland manager, Neil McCann and Alex Rae. So what do you think of the first half then, Shelley?
Well, it ended well for Rangers. It's a brilliant finish, and again, going in at half-time quite comfortable, and it's the best time to score a goal. I didn't think they started the game well, and that was down to St Johnstone putting them under pressure, especially when they were trying to build from the back. But after the first goal went in, they were really, really comfortable.
And do you feel the second goal really changes the complexion of the game?
Well, of course it does. It just makes the team a lot more settled when they come out in the second half. It's a nightmare for Callum Davidson, because I think at 1-0, I think he'd have been still reasonably pleased. As Shelley said, they're really well organised, didn't give too much away. In fact, we were only talking up in the stands saying about John McLaughlin's made one terrific save, which is what you want from your goalkeeper, to be concentrated on all the time to make that big save when he has to. But Elliot Parish didn't have to do an awful lot either, so that certainly makes the half-time talk a lot easier.
Yeah, I agree with the guys. I think early doors, I think they were finding it very difficult to break down. You've got 9 guys and 2 blocks. It's hard to probe and penetrate. However, I think the first goal, I said to Shelley at the back of the stand, Barisic top corner. So it just gives you that kind of breathing space. It allows you to settle into the game. They did that brilliantly. And again, it just shows you the importance of the full-backs. Tavernier's not getting so much joy down the right-hand side, down the left-hand side. He's pulled off a great ball. We were just stood here. It was a lovely cutback. Kent has just checked his run and a first-time finish. And Stephen Gerrard will be delighted to go in with 2, as Neil said. Yeah. And I think that's partly because, you're getting in there, you're thinking, right, OK, we're in total control of the game. And it allows them to try 1 or 2 things in the second half. The
hardest thing ever is St Johnstone started with a back 5, but they've actually, the 2 central midfielders are sitting right in front. It's a 7. It's a Wally 7 to try and break down. So, and I think after the free kick went in, and I will vouch for him, he did say this is going in.
I thought you were going to steal my thunder there.
No, and after the free kick went in, you could see that Rangers started to play with a bit more flair and creativity. I would still like to see more intensity, especially in the final third.
I think that's the thing though, because see when you're moving the ball slowly, nearly, it becomes easy and you can shift across and put blocks on. But when you move it quicker, and again, we touched on the kind of Hadji's now playing on the right, Aribo's come into the middle. For me personally, I love Hadji. Just in that little pocket, he resulted in that second goal as well. He's just got that kind of killer pass. I think he's the most creative one out of that front three about picking passes.
What about the build-up to the first goal and how Rangers won the free kick? Neil, break that down for us, please.
Yeah, well, I've actually asked for a piece of play here. First of all, when the ball gets knocked into to Ryan Kent, I don't know if this is here it comes now. Watch Kent's position, back to goal, then it's a back pass. Watch Morelos take it now. Bang, in there, he's side on, opens up the game, draws a foul. That's crucial when you're trying to break people down. If you constantly with your back to the game and you're getting pressure from behind, you're asking for it to get hit hard, so you automatically just go away from the play and play a back pass, whereas Morelos has brought the challenge by opening up his body, and as Alex said, I'm going to give it to him actually. Just tell us about it, Alex.
No, listen, I've seen this time after time, and I think the great thing about this, Neil, is Halley takes a back step, he takes one step and then wraps it, and he generates so much power. I was sitting with Alan McGregor and I says, what do you do? Do you try and anticipate this? And he went, no, because he can go the other side as well. So you're kind of rooted because of the pace on the ball. It's just a top class finish.
The quality of the strike is highlighted with the fact that Elliot Parish is diving and he's not really even extended his arms because he thinks, I'm not getting it.
He's not it's brilliant. Near it.
To be fair, he's diving, the ball's on the way back out, Shelley, come on.
I think Barisic has had a great first half, I have to be honest. I agree with Alex. Tavernier hasn't got forward as much on the other side, but Barisic has been key for them.
Yeah. And I've got news for you, Shelley. Alex Rae says that every Rangers player is going to score a free kick when he's lining up. So don't let him lead you astray there. We heard Stephen Gerrard in the press conference yesterday talk about Barisic because he was asked about a supposed interest from Leeds United, and he was very quick to bat it away. But if there is a player in the wide areas in Scotland who's Premier League class, would you say it's Barisic?
Well, Barisic is showing, for me, his best quality is going forward, clearly, and you can see where he wraps his foot around it. Alex has described the cutback for Kent perfectly, and that's no accident. That happens time and time again when he gets into those final third positions, and like a winger he can see it, but as Hadji drops into that little pocket, because he's got an awareness about him, he sees Barisic, what a pick out that is. The precision of that pass, that was almost reminiscent of Kent's goal at Celtic Park, where it's just hit with the right enough pace, it's hit with the right angle to take out the St Johnstone, as Shelley says, 7 at times. They've all rushed towards the 6-yard box. I'm always wanting somebody to go through the middle of the goals, because I want to deliver the ball in there. But when you're that good and you can have that sort of quality to pick someone out, that isn't bad.
That
and
is
what
a
a finish as
hard
well.
pass. But
That's
see
not an easy finish.
See the cutback as well. The cutback is so hard because it's a longer pass and the weight is just on the money.
See, for me there, the actual cut, the whip back and the pace makes up Ryan Kent's mind, because he just puts his side foot on it and he just guides it back. You don't actually have to lash at that, and it's so cultured, and it's brilliant because it just gives him so much breathing space just to go into the second half with plenty of confidence.
Are we impressed that Barisic managed to come over and celebrate with you? He found the time to do that?
Yeah, well, listen, I know he's used to East End dialect. Barisic.
Now, it was a start of which was not the best for Rangers, and John McLaughlin showed his value, I suppose, in very early on, because this is a crucial save.
Yeah, it was, and it was right early in the game. And St Johnstone, as I said earlier, they set up to press early on in the game. And they done that very well, and they got a bit of joy. But it was a good save. I think it was a comfortable save.
I thought it was a good save, because
you warned us about Henry Jr.
Yeah, he's a good player. I think he's getting better as well. He's powerful. Tell you, we're talking about how good Balogun is and how quick he is and how comfortable and he's cool. Big Henry chopped him a couple of times there because he's isolated. I thought he could have maybe run him there, but he chopped inside and then he's gone back out just to manufacture another angle on his strong right foot. I think you are right, Shelley, and looking at it, you're expecting John to make a save, but the point I want to make is Rangers goalkeepers have to be absolutely on it mentally, because they're not going to see much action, especially here at Ibrox, because their team is going to control the ball. But he's down low. It's early-ish in the game. He's made a solid stop, and not only that, he's pushed it wide. He's not going to drop it back into the centre of goals in case Henry's up for a second.
I think the key thing there for me as well is, see, when you're in there and you're just coming in the last couple of games for McGregor, it gives you that confidence, you know. And once you do get breached at the back, you know you've got a guy behind you who can actually make these saves.
And at that part of the game, the back five was holding still. Rangers were frustrated at that point. What was the best way to break down a back five like that, Neil?
Davey, I'm watching it, and everybody, we've all been there, we've all picked our teams and our tactics, and we want to deploy them in certain ways. I'm looking at it, and it's a 5, and it's a 4 and a 1. And if it's me, I think sometimes Kent and Hadji and Aribo, they come in narrow a lot, and it congests it, so that 5-4 is never ever going to be broken. And what Barisic is actually doing is going high, but when he's getting the ball, he's still faced with that 5-4-1. So me, I would like to see the 3 playing inside the 5, so outside of the 3 centre-backs, the 3 just playing outside, so it actually occupies the 2 wing-backs into a solid 5. Then I would want my full-back to stay slightly deeper, because then my centre-back just got an easier role with the full-back. And then what that does, Conway and Witherspoon the other side, they have to engage. And as soon as they engage, that's when Kent can come alive into the little pockets, but just be patient. Keep your distance, and then you might just get more space. But listen, the second goal, it might open it up anyway for them.
I think for me, you need to try and shift the 3 centre-backs, and I think you can see signs of that. Ryan Kent, he's prepared to go in behind it, and then Morelos drops in short, and he's been doing that, and you can see they've worked on that. There is absolutely no doubt they'll have worked on that at training, but I like it because as a centre-back, especially when you play in a 3, you don't know who's going. So it does create the space in there, you know, if you've got that forward run from Kent, it creates the space, you know, for Morelos to get on the ball.
What about Ryan Kent's performance tonight, Alex?
No, listen, he's been very bright. You know, he's looking to, as Shelley says, he's looking to go beyond. He's looking to play in narrow as well, and he's looking to get at people from the wider area as well. I think he started the season really, really bright.
This is another one where it's get flashed across the goal. I mean, that's a good ball, that's smashed. What I also like about it is Hadji's going across the front post, so he's occupying defenders. Should the ball miss him, it's dragging an extra defender away, and you're hoping that someone's coming in from behind. David, the best thing about Kent today is it's end product again. Yet again, he's come up with a goal, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for ammunition for your main striker, and you're looking for end product in terms of goals yourself, and he's come up again with another one.
He's the main threat if you talk about intensity, because his feet are so quick. Yeah. So he takes that first touch and it's always positive.
Early indications he's kicked on this season?
No, without a doubt. I said at the start of the season he should set his targets around about 15 goals, you know, at the start of the season nearly, because if you're a wide guy at the Rangers, you should be looking to help, because you can't always be Morelos. You've got to shift that around a little bit.
Oh, you're spot on, honestly, because when I was playing here, And I think of the better wingers than me playing here, they were wingers. And your job, first and foremost, was get by the fullback and get the ball in the box for the strikers. Secondly, you become a second goal threat. But the way Steven Gerrard plays with his wingers, you're going to get more chances. They're probably 25% more chances than Aver could have got, because they're playing almost as a two deep line strikers behind the main one. So you're asking guys to get into real good positions, run about the 18-yard box. And as the guys have said here, Kent is just not one-footed. He's very two-footed, so he can go either side. I think that's not a far
15's a good target.
Yeah, I think that's a fair reflection on what he should be coming up with. And he's starting to chip in, and it's very good signs early on.
It reminds me a wee bit of a wee fella from Port Glasgow.
Listen, Ryan Kent is getting more tools in the bag than what I have, right? And what I had, because...
Well, that's a tribute.
I mean, my right foot was for standing on. I scored a couple with it, but he's got real menace with both sides, Davey. And I tell you, I'm not a fullback. Shirley might tell us what it's like being in the central positions with a guy coming up that can go either side. It's more difficult, and that's why Alec is absolutely right to ask for 15 goals. And Steven Gerrard will be asking for the same amount. He'll be asking for double figures from Hadji, and then he's up to his other
as well. You'll be looking to try and burst a few.
So once you start getting that goal spread out, that's a good mix.
Okay, guys, the second half is coming up next, right here on Rangers TV. Stay with us.
There is no place in football for sectarianism.
Say no to sexism.
Say no to racism.
Say no to homophobia.
Rangers is an inclusive club.
We are all the same.
We all share a love for the club.
Rangers for everyone, anyone.
It's Rangers 2, St Johnstone 0 as we get into the second half. The teams are just coming out for the second half. And let's rejoin our commentators. It's Kevin Thompson and first, Clive Tilsley.
We are going to see a Rangers change at half-time. Philip Hollander is stripped off and ready to play. It looks to me as if Leon Balogun does not come out for this second half. I can confirm Hollander for Balogun is the change. I feel I must apologise on behalf of Rangers Television for Kevin Thompson's behaviour on Twitter in the last 24 hours. Hounding poor Robbie Keane. I mean, you should be ashamed of yourself. What are you playing?
It's my claim to fame, isn't it? It's, I think the other side of the city think that's the only thing I've done. So, listen, if it keeps our fans happy and makes the other side no happy, then I feel as though I'm doing my job.
I think you might have just about done your job, yeah. I was a bit cruel to you at the weekend, recalling your Rangers history against St Mirren. Kevin Thompson was in the team that beat St Johnstone at Hampden in the Scottish Cup semi-final 2008. Rangers won on penalties, and Kevin didn't volunteer for a while. Where were you?
I was hiding, Clive, the same as UEFA Cup semi-final. I think I was next, and I'm sure all the Rangers fans speak for the same voice that they're glad we Nacho Novo scored, because if I'd stepped up, the rest might have been different.
Were you next?
I think, well, me and Davy Weir were hiding behind each other to see who would be going next.
Happy days and happy evenings here at the moment, thanks to two first half goals. First scored by Borna Barisic, all his own work. The second made by him for Ryan Kent. Rangers 2 goals to the good. We can try and find out what exactly has happened to Leon Balogun. Rangers did have centre-backs warming up from quite early in the first half, so maybe it's a minor muscle strain. But Rangers are well stocked in that department at the moment, and Philip Hollander is on alongside Connor Gulls. Here's McNamara, turned away by Jack. Hollander won some praise from his manager for his comeback in Leverkusen after such a long time out, 8 months in total. Injury that he picked up in the cup final. He did play a little bit in pre-season. When you think that Nikola Katic is on the injured list, at the moment. George Edmondson looks a very capable player too. Centre back is a strong suit for Rangers.
Yeah, it's been a wee bit stop-start for him since he come, but Swedish international, played in big games, so big investment for the manager and the club, so I'm pretty sure they'll hope that he contributes massively to the season.
Hendry's been very impressive so far, finding a good pass for Callum Boo that didn't make anything of it. Tavernier tidies up. Kamara. Ariba. Kent. This might just come for Ken. Jack. Aribo, beautifully gathered, and here's Morelos! That was beaten away by Elliot Parish, but again, the approach play excellent.
Yeah, terrific play. Joe Aribo at the heart of it again, good ball for Ryan Jack, and I think he actually had more time than he realised. I think if he had a wee skim, I'm not saying he could have took a touch, Clive, but really loose in the box there, Alfredo Morelos. He hits the target, does the right thing, but really good save for Elliot Parish.
Getting his chance because Xander Clark's injured at the moment. Tavernier with the corner. And it's Aribo at the near post. And Rangers have three. Joe Aribo managed just to smuggle in Tavernier's corner. Another set-piece goal for Rangers. And now clear daylight.
Yeah, I actually think he dropped it a wee bit short, but it's in a real good area. I think it's Liam Craig at the front post as well. Joe Aribo just getting across his man, and Callum Davison will be really disappointed with that. But no, we spoke about Joe Aribo adding goals, adding that wee bit of quality, the finishing touches to some of the real good play he does, and he's popped up through pre-season, and now he's carrying that form in league games.
9 goals last season. That's the first of the official season after marvellous individual goals against Motherwell and Coventry in the pre-season preparation games. Rangers are 3 goals to the good. I'll remind you what I said at the start of the night. In each of the last 4 seasons back in the top flight, St Johnstone have taken points off Rangers. This is a tricky fixture, which is being made to look fairly routine right now. Conway. He is a tall man. I don't think of him as a great header of the ball, but his presence, isn't he?
Yeah, he's probably just glided in there rather than making a forward movement. I think his momentum just takes him in there rather than making a sharp dart movement in the box. And I actually thought James Tavernier's ball looked as though it was going to be a wee bit short and Liam Craig was going to deal with it, but perfect start for the manager and the players. This will test St Johnston's character. Do they go and open up a wee bit and potentially get a wee bit of hiding, or do they shut up shop and lick your wounds and get on with it?
Yeah, damage limitation does become a thought for teams in this kind of position. Morelos, Ryan Jack, Ryan Ken, Haji, and Ken. Didn't quite get hold of it, but once again the combination play in and around the edge of the penalty area is top class.
Yeah, I actually thought he could have played it round the corner first time when it came into Ryan Ken. Clive, I thought he could have just played it soft. I just think taking that wee touch and then bouncing it into Yanis Hadji just closed the gap a wee bit. But such a clever player, the two of them. They're really exciting to watch, Yanis Hadji and Ryan Ken in tight areas, and when they are on song, they're a joy to watch.
St Johnstone made a poor start to last season. They only took 4 points in the first 9 games. They didn't win a match until late October, but they toughed it out. They finished the season strongly, so did with their last team to beat them in a Premiership game. on January the 29th. It's an 8-game unbeaten run in the league that they brought here tonight. They pushed the hoops all the way in a Scottish Cup quarter-final at McDermott Park in March too. Lost to a late Ryan Christie goal. Came from behind to draw 2-2 with Rangers in Perth the week before that. They're made to look second best now. Kent caught by Kerr. Actually just took his eye off the ball there. Jack, Maribo. That's another big tackle from Jason Kerr on Ryan Kent.
It's a wee bit naughty, that, to be honest. I don't think he gets too much of Ryan Kent, but you know, no need to lunge in there, really. Callum Davis will be desperate for his players to not lose their discipline, not to pick up silly yellow cards or even a silly red one, because I'm not saying a game at Ibrox is not important, but there's bigger challenges ahead for this St Johnstone team.
Yeah, Kilmarnock at the weekend is Barisic with the free kick. Alander and Hadji went up for it initially.
A good ball in a good area. Probably a hard one to get it on target, Clive, just with the angle that it comes in and being beyond the front post. But he's certainly going and challenging everything. Philippe Alander.
This 3-goal cushion will allow Steven Gerrard the opportunity to rotate his squad again. He does have both Cedric Itten and Kamar Roof among his options on the bench this evening.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if we don't see them both. I know we mentioned Roof was 7 to 10 days behind the squad and just need a wee bit more miles in the legs before we would see him, but I think the fans will be desperate to get a wee glimpse of him.
Alander. Barisic. Maribo. Kent. Sets up Jack for the shot, which he didn't hit with any great commitment. Rangers in consummate control. 3 goals to the good. Those goals from Kent and Aribo either side of the break just emphasise their overall superiority. 2 more assists for the fullbacks. They'll have their own little contest going this season. Barisic is just ahead of Tavernier here.
I think the interesting one will be who takes penalties, Clive. That'll be the game changer for James Tavernier. He obviously used to take them and then he missed one, and
hasn't been Rangers' chosen specialist subject, let's face it, in the last year or so. They've missed 4 of the last 5.
I think there's certainly a space there for somebody to want to take them.
Maribo. Into Morelos.
Terrific ball for Joe Aribo there. Featherman just a bit rusty with that first touch, just let it slip away from him.
Fantastic combination. Kamara, Hachi lifts it in. Turned away by Jamin McCart. All the party tricks now, hot party pieces coming out.
When they do flick it and they do interlink and the movement and how fast they move the ball in the wee tight areas, it really is good to watch.
Lee with the corner. Headed away by Hendry. That's great from Kamara. And now Hadji. He's won another corner. He's launched his own advertising agency with his mum in Romania in the last week. 21 years of age. I didn't have my own advertising agency at 21. Do you know? Did you?
Certainly,
No.
certainly never.
I own a luxury hotel too. We didn't have one of those when I was 21. Here's Tavernier. I suppose you grow up fast when your dad's one of the finest players ever to play football.
Yeah, he's not a bad mentor, is he?
Olsen. Morelos. Tavernier. Aribo. Barisic and Jeffers not quite, and Kent not quite on the same wavelength that time.
Just a wee dummy shuffle. Wee double shuffle, sorry, for Ryan Kent there. And Conor Barisic, as soon as you put your head down and look at the ball and the player makes a different movement, 9 times out of 10 it's usually on the wrong wavelength.
Rangers did start last season with 3 straight Premiership wins, their best winning start since the last title season 10 years ago, and they took maximum points in the first 9 games. They're the standards. They won 7 of the first 8 league games last season. Stephen Gerrard will want them to be in a similar position to last Christmas come the holiday games and the turn for home, if at all possible. No winter break this season.
Yeah, he certainly won't take the foot off the gas, the manager, because it's not in his nature. The staff, they're so driven, so hungry. And I think he's back now with a squad capable of, you know, you're bringing on Steve Davis, Scott Arfield, and then the two new main signings.
Free kick to defend first. Conway. And easy enough for McLaughlin. Davis, Itten, Roof and Arfield from left to right.
Not bad 5-a-side team if you add the manager into that. I don't know which one of them would go on goals right enough, but
Manager's carrying a bit less weight than one player out in the middle I can think of, by the way.
I don't know if any of them are shifting the manager at the team, that's for sure. Always happens that when you're a sub. The ball never ever goes out to play.
Tavernier. Aribo seemed to have turned into trouble, but in fact he turned away from it. Right, here we go. Ball change. Ryan Kent is coming off. Joe Aribo is coming off. Ryan Jack is coming off. And Alfredo Morelos is coming off. And on in their place, Stephen Davis, Scott Arfield, and with the greatest respect to the pair of them, of more interest, Cedric Itten, who had 15 minutes against St Mirren, and for the first time Kamar Roof, who because of an injury hit first half to the year is a little behind in terms of fitness. It's the same shape. Roof is going to play from the left hand side. Looks like Hadji's gone to 10 maybe. Anyway, we'll see a little bit, maybe get a better idea of the shape if St Johnstone get the ball again.
Yeah, Hadji and Roof will play like inside 10s, Clive, and Eaton will lead the line almost the same as what Alfredo Morelos was doing.
Yeah, it's a little bit more 4-3-3 now than it was. Hadji right, Roof left, Eaton centre. But a 4-3-3, as we say, with tight wide play, but wide players have played narrow.
Yeah, I don't think Scott Arfield, in saying that, at times Scott Arfield can, but I think he'll sit alongside Steve Davis. Steve Davis will anchor it in the middle of Glenn Kamara. And he'll be the go-to man, Steve Davis. He's so neat and tidy on the ball. He'll make them tick. Probably Scott Arfield you'd expect to bomb on a bit more than Glenn Kamara.
Liam Craig is coming off for St Johnstone to be replaced by right back Sean Rooney. And Craig Conway is going to give way to 20-year-old Isaac Olafe, who is on loan to St Johnstone from Millwall, where Callum Davison was an assistant last season. Both Olafe here and Danny McNamara have joined temporarily, two players that Callum is familiar with. Olafe he's a forward player. Looks like he's going to go up front with Rooney, with Hendry, I should say. Been quite taken by Callum Hendry this evening, and they've got another promising forward player, John Robertson, an 18-year-old goal scorer who was on loan at Cove Rangers in League Two last season, that they've got high hopes for.
Yeah, I think Henry will do really well for them, Clive. As I say, there's going to be bigger challenges and bigger battles that St Johnstone will no doubt come out a wee bit more rosy than they have tonight. I think he'll be a big player for them, Callum Henry.
McNamara's hanging cross, but McLaughlin kept his eye on the ball. Done nothing wrong tonight. John McLaughlin made one very decent save in the first half. Good ball that. Tavernier up to our field. Davis is slotted into this pivot role here. Gittin and Roof will be hoping that the others keep the same intensity in the performance, give them opportunities to get off the mark here tonight if they can. There is Roof.
Yeah, it's going to take time as well, Clive. It's, you know, new signings, everybody just expects them to hit the ground running, but you need to build that relationship up with the midfielders, the other players that you play in the front line with. You know, it's not as easy as just coming in and being a superstar. You know, you need to build up that relationship, that trust in each other, what you expect, where you run, the type of movements you make. So that'll certainly be worked on in the training ground and evolve as time goes by.
Mild evening in Govan. No need for tracksuit tops after the evening's work. Here is Itten. And now Roof. It's bumped off it by Liam Gordon. Roof. Kamara was fouled by McNamara. He's had a very tidy night in the Rangers midfield, Glenn Kamara.
He just lends people the ball. Clive, I think it suits him more playing behind the ball, you know, alongside Ryan Jack, Steve Davis. I don't think it suits him running past the ball or supporting the front boys. I think he's really smooth at backing it up.
Davis available, finds Hanchi. Now Itten. Gordon did enough against him. Hadges won it back. Our field. Davis did really well. Tavernier. It's awkward for Rooney.
Actually done quite well there, Rooney, a bit composure. good first touch and cleared his lines well enough. He obviously knew James Tavernier wasn't breathing down the back of him.
It's his first taste of Premiership football, Sean Rooney. McCann just ran away from Olafe. Here's Itten. Again, Liam Gordon put his body on the line.
Yeah, good block. We've not seen much of him, Clive. He's a couple of times it's just went down to him and he's been a wee bit scruffy, just getting a hold of it. It slipped off him a wee bit, but gets his opportunity and he's got the confidence to hit a good shot. He's certainly got good size and good stature. It'll be interesting to see how he's going to do. I think he'll certainly be a different player for Roof.
He's got good form too. He's in high goal scoring form for St Gallen just before the move in Switzerland. Tavernier with the corner, a little flick on at the near post. Hollander just couldn't make the most of Arfield's touch. No way out for Rooney.
He certainly didn't deal with that one as well as he dealt with the last one.
Presented Rangers with a corner. Still a quarter of this match to go. Tavernier working the near post again with Hadji. Didn't quite come off that time. Tidied up by Davis. Goldson on the way home has lost it. On by Rooney, it's another very good ball. Olafe chased this for Hollander. He did well. Did he get a foot on the ball? He did, a corner kick.
Yeah, terrific defending there for Hollander. All comes from Conor Golson's silly mistake, and he's almost a wee bit unlucky there not to get his legs wrapped around each other, and it could easily have been a penalty.
I've got a funny feeling the one thing it wasn't was a corner.
It's one of the danger ones when teams counter-attack on you and you just try to cut across them, and Hollander done really well there. It's a sloppy mistake for Conor Golson. Just shows you 1 minute you're attacking and the next you're chasing back to your goal.
Wotherspoon with the corner. McNamara. Oh, that's fantastic work, charging down and hounding by Cedric Itten. Rangers still to concede in the Premiership this season. I can try and keep it that way. You see Liam Balogun taking his seat in front of us. So whatever treatment he required has been completed here at the stadium, and it's presumably a minor injury. He seems to be moving okay.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's not moving up the stairs all too quick, Clive, but let's hope it's precautionary. He certainly looked the part. He's going to have bigger challenges in a Rangers jersey, no doubt, moving forward, but so far so good.
Foul by Rooney on Barisic. To Kamara. Orlando. Barisic. Wilson just unable to connect with Barisic. It was a quarterback pass. Tavernier. Hadji. Now Itten. Oh, he was just caught. Big appeal from the Rangers bench. Wasn't a convincing fall by it.
Yeah, I think he wanted to stay up, for the honest, but there's certainly a kick there. He just gets there in front. It certainly could have been a penalty. I think you need to applaud his honesty to try and stay up, Clive.
It's caught by Callum Booth, who was late. Rangers' recent penalty record, maybe a throw-in's a better bet, is it?
I wonder if he would have stepped up. That's the question, Clive. I suppose we'll never know, but I wonder if, 3-0 up at home, coming on as a sub, winning the penalty yourself, pretty sure he would have fancied it. I'm intrigued to see who is going to step up. If Alfredo's on the pitch, if Roof's on the pitch, if Tavernier's on the pitch, it's going to be interesting to see who fancies their chances for the spot this season.
Davis. Golson going long, it's a brilliant ball, Hadji. He's not done it justice.
It's not like Yanis Hadji, he's tried that a few times, Connor Golson. This time it's a big raker. Delightful first touch. I think he thought a bit of contact was coming when he dropped his shoulder there, Clive, and he just unfortunately run it out of the pitch for a by kick. Terrific ball for Connor Golson.
McNamara. Kurt. It's found Booth. Booth and McCann. That's good work by Davis. Rangers can counter. Plenty of options here for Hadji if he gets his head up. Itten. Arfield trying to let it run. It has come for Kamar Roof. Arfield. Barisic was absolutely free to the left. Approaching the last 15 minutes. Rangers have been 3-0 up since 4 minutes into this second period. Barisic, Kent and Aribo the scorers this evening. Kamara. Rangers don't play again until Sunday at Livingston. A couple more changes coming from St Johnstone. We're going to see the teenager John Robertson, of whom I spoke earlier, number 20. Alan Booth is going off and give way on the left-hand side to Scott Tanser, who's been a regular left-back for the last couple of years. And it is Callum Hendry who's going to get a break from a very good night's work, lonely night's work at times. And here is John Robertson. He had a trial with Ipswich down south last year.
Yeah, he played against under 18s last year, Clive. He's a handful. He's from a part of Edinburgh that's streetwise. He's got a bit about him. He certainly attracted interest, and you could tell he was a good player, so it'll be interesting to see how he develops over time. Callum Davison, I've got no doubt, will give him good exposure, so it's up to him to try and grasp that.
Got to be good to wear boots like that.
Yeah, I suppose you need to have personality to be a top player, so he'll need to back it up, but he was certainly prolific for the 18s and their marquee player. He was the kind of main man, so it'll be interesting to see how he develops over the next year or two, to see if he can go and become a mainstay in this St Johnstone team.
I don't want to sound like an old ball. As a commentator, I love coloured boots. Players should be told they all have to wear a different colour from their teammates.
It's harder to find a black pair nowadays than coloured ones. It's, I'm finding a 10-year-old that's moving to the sizes, the adult sizes, is becoming more and more expensive for dad to buy them.
I'm sure you've got contacts going.
I need to chap some of the gloves.
Alanda. Roof. Roof's position is interesting. I mean, he scored a lot of goals at Leeds, but they feel that he can play from wide or even from a number 10 at Rangers. Oh, I didn't like that tackle at all. Roof caught a big one there from Liam Gordon. It is just a yellow card. He came crashing in then.
Yeah, that was one you need to shut your eyes. Oh, it's
no.
nasty. It could have been real nasty. He's lucky that his studs go through Roof before he actually makes contact. He gets a wee bit lucky. He actually takes a poor touch, Roof, and lets the ball run away from him.
Well, that's good to see, because he has had some injury problems this year, Kamar Roof.
Yeah, it's a naughty one now.
Look away now.
Could easily been a straight red, that, Clive. Easily been a straight red.
It was an awkward sort of a challenge. I think what spared Kamar Roof is Gordon's high leading foot almost went diagonally, almost away from him in the end.
I think it goes past his body, doesn't it? Before, if it didn't, sorry, and it made contact with Roof on the impact of the challenge, it could have been a real nasty one.
Welcome to Scotland.
Yeah, I've done that myself a few times.
Olafe.
He's looked quite lively, Clive, since he's come on. Powerhouse. Quite athletic.
Here's Rooney. Kamar Roof is on his own 2 feet. Doesn't seem to be any the worse for wear. This is his first competition game since December. He was involved in 2 or 3 warm-up games with Anderlecht after lockdown. He had a good start with Anderlecht after 2 good years at Leeds in the Championship, but then came the injury, so he's entitled to be a little rusty.
Yeah, he's only going to get better. The more games, the more minutes he gets on the training pitch, the more he gets to know his teammates, the more he gets to know the manager's demands. He's only going to get better, but there's certainly a real talented player.
He scored 10 goals in the last 12 games in Switzerland, all since lockdown, so he is up to speed. Roof isn't. And the good news for Rangers fans, the really good news, is that those 2 have arrived. Alfredo Morelos is still here. Carl to Olafe. McCann. Rooney. McNamara's forward run, and it's a useful ball, and Olafe forces the save. It's good reaction as much as anything from McLaughlin. It was quite close to him, but he still had to respond. Rangers can counter. Roof. Just a little short for it. Wotherspoon. This is Robertson, and a well-timed sliding challenge by Hollander. Nothing rusty about him.
Yeah, had to be well-timed as well. A terrific save for John McLaughlin just prior to that. Just got a wee bit sloppy, a couple of sloppy touches. Probably as you'd expect. I know it's competitive games, but the boys are still finding their feet. And I think when you do make changes, the new rule to obviously bring on 5 subs, it naturally just disrupts the momentum of the game. So I think at times it's to be expected, but you need to make sure that back door's shut.
Doesn't look unhappy, does he, Alfie?
I'll be disappointed he never got his goal, Clive, but I've seen him come off the pitch slightly different than he did tonight, so hopefully that's a happy Alfredo Morelos.
Goals and caught in possession by Robertson. Wotherspoon. Robertson. Turns it back to McCann. McNamara. Rooney. Another good challenge by Hollander, who's making his point. McCart. Cut out by Barisic. Davison's just taking the opportunity to have a look at a few players now, almost accepting his fate, or has been now probably for 20-30 minutes. Had a tough season. They conceded 6 minutes into the season. They suffered a red card before half-time in the opening game, then lost the second game to a postponement. Had to come here instead after an 11-day break.
I'm sure he'll do well, Clive. Pretty sure he'll be a players type manager that the players will be able to relate to him, having a good career himself, and he'll know a lot of the players anyway. And he'll also know a Tommy Wright side that brought success, so pretty sure once I just think that's Johnson's way at times. They go through sticky starts, they have sticky periods, and when they do have sticky periods they normally come out the other side. Terrific play.
By Roof, nice combination with Hinton. Davis. Here's Barisic. Dig cross, Roof just couldn't quite time it under some pressure. Tom Miller actually gave me a list of players who play for both clubs. One, Alistair McCoist, started at St Johnstone, came here via Sunderland. Alex McDonald moved to Rangers directly from St Johnstone, 1968. 65 grand, Alex McDonald. And a raw-boned striker by the name of Alec Ferguson, also cost Rangers 65,000 from Dunfermline Athletic after making his name at St Johnstone. I think he told me that he scored a hat-trick against Rangers on his debut. Still a part-time footballer there. Hasn't done anything part-time since then. Tavernier. Here's Roof. And now Barisic. Going with his right foot. Kevin, you and I have got to select man of the match, and since you're a marginally better player than I am, or indeed ever were, or would ever been in my dreams, I'll suggest that Borna there is a candidate. I've got a quiet fancy for Glenn Kamara's performance this evening, but have you got anything to beat Borna Barisic as a man of the match candidate?
I think that you've pushed me towards that, and it's unfortunate that he's just put one in the stand with his right foot, but I think his free kick and then his ball for Ryan Kent for the second goal, I think he's had a quiet second half. I think the bits of quality that have been shown, Borna Barisic has been at the centre of it, so he would be my pick tonight, Clive. Borna Barisic for man of the match.
Borna Barisic is the man of the match. Rangers have been on course to win since Kent swept in Barisic's cross on the stroke of half-time. Rebo glanced in a Tavernier corner early in the second half. St Johnstone haven't even threatened that lead since then. McLaughlin's made one good save in either half. Rangers' worst 15 minutes was their first 15 minutes.
job done, Clive, to be honest, for the boys. It's, you know, more players getting some minutes in, hopefully another clean sheet, something to give the team a real platform to build on, and we all know the issues that the team across the city are having, so the manager, the players, the club will be desperate to put as many points on the board as possible to make sure that that gap is as big as possible when Celtic can resume their fixtures. So
yeah, Rangers play at Livingston on Sunday and then at home to Kilmarnock on Saturday week in an afternoon match. Celtic play early evening that day, so Rangers have got 2 more games to play before Celtic kick the ball again. And the difference between the two teams is about to become 5 points. The SPL decide that the title should be settled now on average points per game. You think they'll do that? No, I don't think they'll do that quite so early in the season. Maybe not.
No, can't see that happening, Clive.
Ever again, by the way. Ticking towards the last 90 seconds of normal time.
He's got big shoes to fill, big gloves to fill, as such, John McLaughlin, Clive, but he's certainly come in and acquitted himself really well. You know, large spells of the game you stand and watch, but his concentration levels have been terrific. You know, some real good stops. And it is the unattractive position of goalkeeper, even though goalkeepers will be cursing me, but you know, they don't get many plaudits at times, normally off the back of a defeat or whatever, because they've maybe been busy, but at a club like this sometimes you don't get many plaudits, and he's been terrific again tonight.
McGregor, who kind of made his way at St Johnstone, is just nursing a bit of a knee problem at the moment, but it's not a serious one, and Rangers would hope to have him back in harness in the next week or so. Jermaine Defoe had a bit of a setback in training yesterday. No need to take any chances with him at the moment.
Yeah, I spoke to Jermaine today. I was laughing and joking with him, saying that when you get to that age, it's always that wee bit harder to stay fit. So he's a terrific guy, you know, great experience, and brilliant for my young ones as well. He's always one that will go out of his way to speak to people. So
here's Itten. He's forced away by Kerr. Hadji. Oh, side netting.
Terrific play, Clive, it really is. Just taking turn on a 5-pence piece, Giannis Hadji. And he went quiet. He comes in a wee spits and sparks, and he just brings things alive. But
stoppage time.
I never got much around the applause though.
Manager's hands are in his pockets. Goldson's header comes for Rooney. One thing that will unite Messrs McGregor and McLaughlin is clean sheets. So far so good for Rangers in that sense. There was one scramble at Pataudry in the second half, couple of loose moments at the weekend. McLaughlin did make a good save in the first 15 minutes this evening, but the Rangers goal hasn't been threatened very much in their first 3 Premiership games. Tavernier. Arfield up to Itten. Haji just lost out to Robertson. Kamara. That's it. That'll do it. Play 3, 1-3. No goals conceded. Rangers match Hibernian start to the season in the Premiership. They started a little creakily this evening, didn't quite have their minds on the job in the first 15 minutes, but that's about as critical as you can be. Borna Barisic, who got our man of the match nomination, scored a wonderful free kick midway through the first half. And then on the stroke of half-time, maybe the critical moment, his cross turned in beautifully, first time by the left foot of Ryan Kent, gave Rangers some breathing space at the halfway mark. That lead was soon improved when Joe Aribo glanced in a Tavernier corner early in the second half. Another look at Itten, a first look at Roof. Just a slight injury for Balogun, but so far so good for the domestic season for Rangers. 3-0 winners against St Johnstone here at Ibrox tonight.